Ajay Agarwal from Summit Next will do the honors of asking the fiery questions. Manish is the Senior Vice President of Digital at Taskers. He leads digital transformation initiatives focused on improving frontline experience, customer experience, and achieving favorable business outcomes. His team drives transformational opportunities and brings the greatest value by reducing teammate effort, improving frontline efficiencies and effectiveness, while eliminating and automating non value added transactions. So, what is this chat all about? Challenges and opportunities in the current times, role of digital. Over to you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Marathi. Welcome to all to this fireside chat. Looking forward to this ridiculously good conversation with Manish. And let me tell you, all of you will hear a lot of this word ridiculously when you hear about taskers. Possibly, Manish may mention about that too when we go through this session. And maybe let's make a count of how many times we hear of this word. So a bit of introduction to today's session. It's a very interesting topic, considering that how the things have changed globally due to the onset of COVID, how the world is evolving. In terms of GBS, the global and multinational organizations are running their cost optimization agendas, and centralization of services becomes an optimum solution to drive the strategic and operational objectives. The post-COVID world looks unclear, but for GBS and shared services organization, one thing is clear. Long-held and conventional wisdom has been challenged, requiring many changes, many of which have led to better performance and growth for GBS companies. And there are examples of that, how that's happened during the COVID times. The new GBS and shared services normal will have digital playing a key role in every aspect of operational practices that were previously thought to be impossible. This means that work which was earlier considered to be outside of the GBS purview is now being considered to come under the GBS umbrella, which is good news for everybody in this industry. It is being observed that digital is key to all aspects of our business, which includes talent, customer, and internal processes. And I'm sure all of us will agree that digital is playing a huge part in all aspects of our businesses and our lives now, much more than what it was 19 months ago. So Manish, once again, welcome to this fireside chat. I'm really looking forward to it, looking forward to hear from you, looking forward to get a Taskers perspective. That's an organization I hear a lot about everywhere. Just to give our audience, Taskers went through IPO recently with a valuation of $3.4 billion, currently valued about $5.9 billion on NASDAQ, which is great news for everybody, all Taskers employees and so on. So Manish, my first question to you would be, the last 19 months would have been really busy for you and your team, maybe tons of work that you've been doing in that. How has work changed, evolved in the last 19 months, and how has your team helped with that?
Thank you, Ajay. First of all, thank you so much for having me. And I promise you that you'll hear a lot of ridiculous culture from us, from Taskers. So, in the last 19 months, as you know, that before pandemic, pretty much everybody worked from the office, a physical workspace, and it had its own benefits, right? Especially for Taskers, where we have this great work environments, great sites, which provides a lot of benefits, especially camaraderie, right? Now, when the pandemic hit, Taskers was the first in industry to announce work from home for everybody, and we swiftly pivoted from all the physical environments to work from home in less than 2 weeks, which is a big feat. with maintaining full continuity of services for our clients. Now, as you can imagine, this was a big effort, and yes, I mean, it took a lot of work. And as it stands today, we still have only 10% of our teammates that are working from office in a safe following our safety protocols. So how did we do all this, right? Of course, there's a lot of work. I mean, the good part is that we are already working on a work from home model, which manifested itself into what we call CIRUS. This is our newest quote unquote site. And again, I mean, we call it a site, but it's a work from nowhere and everywhere, right? So, I mean, it's a cloud-based system that lets our teammates work safely from everywhere. Now, how did we do this, right? I mean, if you think about it, it brings its own opportunities, work from anywhere, but it also brings challenges. And we solved it in multiple ways. First of all, collaboration, right? So we included a lot of collaboration tools, especially our glow stick platform, which is the one-stop shop for all our teammates to be able to get any information and collaborate with anybody. Second, virtual team huddles, right? So think about it, instead of having physical team huddles in a group, now we have virtual huddles using collaboration tools, videos, and so on. Third, security. Security is paramount in our business. I mean, as you can understand in GBS or a BPO, we are working and servicing clients of all types. So how do we do that, right? So we have multiple tools and technologies that we have deployed, particularly Spot and Falcon, that help us and our teammates be confident that when they are working on our client systems, they are doing it in a secure manner. Then we have like providing operational oversight of teammates that are scattered all around the globe. And that is what we do with a connector solution, right? And which is primarily using our Omnibot, RPA solution that provides information at the right time to the right place to our operational leaders so they can have oversight. Of course, as you can work from home, you can imagine there are challenges, there are distractions. So how do we help our teammates increase their efficiency? So we have deployed a whole bunch of solutions under our assist us bucket. And what it does is basically has a hybrid human-bot collaboration, which we call Hyro, and also AI-powered solution that will suggest answers to our teammates as they're servicing a client request. The last but not the least, and this is where the biggest challenge is about wellness and resiliency. As you can imagine, people are cooped up in their homes and providing services, all kinds of lockdowns and such. So our wellness and resiliency team that was already providing the services in a physical environment had to quickly provide this in an online program that is available to our teammates 24/7, right? And that is what we did. So essentially, if you think about it, yes, there's a shift to work at home, brought its own challenges, its own opportunities, and a whole bunch of other things that we could bring to the table to kind of hasten the digital nature of our business.
Thank you, Manish. Thank you. Very interesting. And just on what you said, I follow Taskers on LinkedIn. I see great things, people talking about Taskers. How do you replicate the great working environment that Taskers has, when people are working from home?
First of all, it's all about people first approach, right? So pretty much every decision that we make, whether it is in the technology, digital operations, workforce management, it's all centered towards people, right? And that is reflected in our Glassdoor ratings. That's reflected in our scores and our CEO comparably awards and all that stuff. Because everybody is kind of thinking people first, which is our frontline first. And I mean, you do that through a culture mechanism, number one, and second thing is through the use of digital and using smart technology to provide this kind of culture and extend it. Okay,
so the physical environment is still difficult to recreate, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so we'll come to that later on. But all of these things that you spoke about, the Hyro Assist Us, is it a production of last few months, or has that been going on, even before COVID set in?
Yeah, so at Taskers, the culture of innovation was always there, right? And with the whole COVID and pandemic, what it helped us is to kind of formalize that, right? So we had lot of innovation going on in different geos, and what it helped us is to bring it under the central umbrella and then accelerate the whole deployment using RPA, using AI and such, right? And then I'll talk a little bit about how we put that into buckets, and three different buckets with easy to consume, easy to understand.
Okay, got it. Okay, my second question to you is, and very relevant to you, what you do as a professional. Do you think that COVID has hastened the adoption of digital for the world in general, and especially for a BPO/GBS company like TaskUs?
Absolutely right. I mean, as you can imagine, we saw an overnight shift in digital channels. I mean, all the customers and clients and everybody started preferring digital channels, whether it was in-app messages, chat, and such, and for the right reasons, right? And we also saw increase in no contact delivery, no contact payment mechanism, online ordering of food, on demand services exploded, right? I mean, we are talking on Zoom. I mean, that was also a need of the hour. So absolute digital kind of increased over there. I mean, the acceleration kind of increased over there. And it's all part of the same thing, right? Digitization and digitalization, that was, waves were going on. It just accelerated it for all of us. Now, what does it mean for TaskUs? I mean, the good part about TaskUs is that we were always cloud first. We were born in the cloud because we were working with our clients that were disruptive, that were cloud first and cloud native, right? So what that meant was that all our applications, all our data, all our connectivity, everything was in the cloud. So when pandemic hit and the whole concept of work from home that we had, it really became super easy for us to now expand it across the globe and provide the same kind of services. And I mentioned about our model called Cirrus, and that really helped us. So yes, it has, COVID has hastened the adoption of digital, not only outside, but also for GBS. I mean, all the BPOs are now using cloud technology. I mean, they were forced to use that. I mean, the good part is that we were cloud first, cloud native, so it was super easy for us to adopt and kind of provide the services.
Okay, that makes sense. So, in a way, this is kind of an indication to all the GBS companies out there, that have not adopted cloud solutions, to go for it now. I'm sure most companies have, even on the client side, I see most companies now operate on, cloud solutions instead of legacy systems, which makes, tasks work for us easier as GBS companies. I think being on cloud, it's easier to have our people work from anywhere. Okay, that's very interesting. My third question in that line is, how can digitization disruption give advantages, opportunities to GBS companies to stay agile and stay flexible, stay smart?
Right. So, I mean, we have already introduced a lot of digital innovation, through the years, right? I mean, this digital transformation has always been there. And as I mentioned earlier, it got accelerated because of this. But yet, the human interactions and human-centered customer experience is kind of here to stay, right? So now, what does it mean? It means that having teammates or agents or service providers who have mentally healthy, savvy, and well-trained support agents, they will always excel. However, at the same time, GBSs who are agile in the nature and be able to pivot from the traditional support channels, from voice to kind of non-voice and digital, they will have an edge, right? I mean, of course, you can bring in cloud, you can bring in tools and technologies and so on, but at the end of the day, what you will see is that the GBS that are aligned in mindset of cloud first and digital from the ground up, what we call, digitally native, I mean, and agile, they will survive and they will excel, right? And this is where the most of the opportunities lie for, GBSs around the world. I mean, when you talk about digitization, you'll see paper-based, interactions have now become digitized. QR codes and things of that nature. I mean, a lot of the customers and outlets prefer contactless payment even in stores over cash, right? So you have seen that trend going on, which means that those interactions that are coming in will be more and more digital in nature. And this is where this comes in, right? We offer this kind of services, to our clients who are also, digital first in nature.
Got it. So in a way, Manish, you're saying is while digital is coming in, but humans are still irreplaceable. And why people talk about automation is happening in GBS industry, is this industry going to survive? It is definitely going to survive and possibly will play a bigger role in the businesses, right?
Right.
Okay, that's good to hear. So I'll touch upon, we were there was another point that was mentioned in a discussion yesterday, which was about talent. But as head of talent, do you think the talent availability today, the talent that's available today, they need to upskill themselves or to be prepared, to be better prepared for the future?
Right. So, we do have, people operations and leaders who actually worry about this. I mean, that, talent and so on. As a leader of digital, what I have to worry about is that, can I upskill the talent that is currently available, whether it is on the support side, shared services side, or on the front line, to be able to use and support digital channels, right? And this is the opportunity for a lot of employers to amplify upskilling the programs and so on. So what have we done at Taskus for this, right? And again, this goes back to our people first culture. So we have two initiatives that are huge that are now digitized completely. One is Ideas Us, which is where anybody in the organization can submit an idea and they can work upon it. And they can work upon it through our Future of Work program, which is a citizen development. So now think about we providing low code, no code solutions for our teammates. And I'm talking about frontline teammates to be able to create solutions that they can be proud about and they can champion, right? And these are the kind of things that organizations need to do so that they can create, remove the backlog of all the requests that is out there, and second, create the workforce of tomorrow, which will be digitally savvy and being able to support this kind of an disruptive, programs.
Okay, so Manish, the point that I was mentioning earlier, what we discussed yesterday, all of this kind of takes care of the technical skills, the business skills. How do you take care of the soft skills? That's what was a discussion yesterday. How do you take care of the soft skills, which personally I feel is getting lost in this work from home, the learning that you pick up when you speak to leaders face to face, over coffee, over water coolers and so on. That's not there. How do you take care of that?
So I mean, the good thing about Taskus is that we always had a wellness and resiliency programs, right? And this is where you can take care of mental health. You can provide the other skills of soft skills like empathy and so on, right? And that also goes with the culture. Apart from that, we have launched Taskus Academy, to be able to grow within the organization, and you grow not by just hard skills but also by imbibing soft skills, right? I mean, we talk about digital and all that, so at the end of the day, EQ is also equally important to be able to transform, right? When you want to change, you need to have a solid EQ in place so that you can provide those results, and that's a combination of things, right? I mean, you need to have that core program that Taskus already has, and the culture is there, and it's proud about that through wellness, resiliency, our academies that we have for whether it's for learning, whether it is for other streams, and that's what provides us the base to kind of have that kind of an approach.
Okay, that's good to hear. So there is work happening on that side as well. That's good. So there is this constant talk of, will people come back to office ever, or companies, people have gotten used to working from home, and companies have gotten used to people working from home. Most companies sort of are happy with that. But what do you think is the future of traditional business model of brick and mortar offices for GBS? And GBS companies, usually have very large offices. What is your take on what's the future of those large offices?
Right. So as I mentioned earlier, the whole work from home model, right? Even the outsourcing, industry is kind of here to stay. Right? Now, to what extent it will be there and what extent the whole hybrid nature will be there will be decided by the business use cases that are out there. And again, there is not going to be a central authority that will decide whether it is going to be fully work from home or it's going to be fully physical brick and mortar. I mean, you just mentioned about the whole camaraderie, the whole resiliency, and the ideas that can be exchanged over coffee and so on. So there is going to be a hybrid approach out over there that will have to evolve by itself, right? And to a large extent, so we are committed to have both the approaches in place, so essentially a hybrid approach.
Okay. So basically, you're saying that brick and mortar will come back. It maybe
Extent, yes.
What quantum it comes back, but it will come back.
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that's good news for IIB as well. That it, and personally, all of us would prefer a model of hybrid model of work from home and work from office. But I think it will come back. The quantum still needs to be seen, what quantum it will have, but it will come back. Okay, that's good to hear. So my next question, Manish, is, at Taskus, you talk about assisting without replacing. Which we briefly touched upon earlier of, this thing of GBS industry will go down and so on. But in this thing of assisting without replacing, do you see any mental roadblocks with people in general about digitization, whether it's the fear of losing their jobs or, something else? Are there any mental roadblocks?
I mean, you just touched on a good point about assisting without replacing, right? And of course, the traditional thought process is that, hey, jobs will be lost and so on. What we have seen is actually exactly opposite, and that's because of our approach of human tech partnerships. What we will see is that the interactions will become more and more complex, because the simple ones, the mundane tasks, which we traditionally call the dull, dirty, and dangerous tasks, will be automated anyways, right? I mean, because they are nobody wants to do that. I mean, let's be honest about it. So with the culture of tasks that we have, which kind of permeates across the organization, this whole human bot collaboration is kind of here to stay, and that is what is kind of helping us to reach that stage and overcome that traditional mental block that may be there other places, of replacement and so on. And we have a lot of examples where we have actually put hybrid bots which are assisting our teammates to do their job better. And since the simple tasks are gone, the more complicated ones are going to be staying, and they will need human touch, empathy, and so on.
Okay. So, which essentially means that, and having seen the growth of Taskus over years, that, it only helps the business to grow, get more headcount from your clients, more business from the clients. So digital disruption will help your business overall, right? For especially GBS companies.
Yep, and I think you've seen some of those things in publicly available data and so on from Taskus. I'm sure, yes.
Okay, that's good to hear that. Okay, which brings us to the last question. What do you think, are the essential skills of the future? Everybody talks about digital. Does somebody who's not skilled at, that aspect of the business, do you think they need to go that route?
I think it's a big combination of both, right? I mean, at the end of the day, like we said, human plus tech. That is the mantra that we follow over here as well. I mean, humans have this, innate ability of dealing with subjective side, having empathy, and also by making decisions that are analytic in nature, right? So while the bots will do all the dull, dirty, and dangerous work that nobody wants to do, you will see more and more, humans do. So it will be a combination of skills, soft skills, like you mentioned, and of course the hard skills to some extent, so that you can either upskill yourself using future of work programs and so on, so that you can service digital interactions, or provide the gig work and so on. So it's going to be a combination of both. And I think at the end of the day, it's going to be creative and innovative mindset that needs to be brought to the table. And this is where you'll be able to get the true benefits of human plus tech.
Okay. And my last question, Taskus has been growing, present in multiple countries. So is the next country Malaysia?
As a matter of fact, yes. So, I mean, yesterday on the earnings calls, our CEO announced about 6 different locations being opened up, and yes, Malaysia is one of them that where Taskus is expanding. Okay,
that's good to hear. So, thank you so much, Manish. I think a very good discussion. Things that we touched upon, digital will have a huge role to play for not just the GBS industry, but life overall. Companies need to start looking at the digital route and plan for the future. As you said, Taskus planned for work from home way before even COVID came in. So it's helped Taskus to expand, to grow, to get for an easier transition to work from home. And then I think the last takeaway for me is that the brick and mortar will come back. I'm personally happy with that. I like seeing a lot of people at work, meeting them face to face. So I think, yes, great discussion. I should say ridiculously good discussion. There are certainly key takeaways for me, I hope for the audience as well. Thank you so much, Manish. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.